And welcome into the UFC Fight Cards podcast presented by Orange Fire Media. I'm your host, Russ Renault. We're here after another Fight Night event from the Apex in Las Vegas. It's going to be kind of an abbreviated show. So we're going to talk a little bit about tonight's card, but the more important thing is we're going to preview UFC 302 coming up in a couple of weeks. So just on that note, with the week off between events, so we'll be taking the week off as well from Memorial Day, so I hope you enjoy the time off, the weekend, and just remember what the holiday is for as we honor all those who are fallen to defend our freedom. So enjoy the holiday off, and we will be back right after UFC 302 on June 1st. So we'll be right here right after the main event ends, and we'll talk about that main event here in just a minute. But let's get through tonight real quick. Main event from the Apex. So LaRon Murphy with a absolutely dominant performance over Edson Barboza in the featherweight division, unanimous decision. Just one-way traffic all night long. I mean, significant. The strikes were 200 to double digits, and 5+ minutes of control time. So just an outstanding performance for LaRon Murphy. Disappointing for Edson Barboza. He kind of come back and had some good showings and was kind of showing that old flair, but really got dominated tonight. And so kind of closes a bit of a ranked chapter in Barboza's career, more than likely. So unfortunate for him, but great for LaRon Murphy. That's a signature win for him. So just look for, top 15 coming up for Murphy in the future. So other big win, co-main event, Chaos Williams with a knockout exactly a minute and a half into the first round. Just, ducked a right and then came back with a right of his own to drop Carlston Harris pretty early in the fight and just turn the lights out. And, another big story that's gone on over the last 8-9 months or so, Thimba Garimba defeating Ramiz Baramaj in the welterweight division, unanimous decision. Was not pretty. He admitted it. It was a boring fight, but he got the job done. Unanimous decision. So Garimbo just continue to improve at this point. It's what you want to do. He's won his first 3 fights in the UFC. He's got the recognition of the story that he has. Dealing with the adversity. With the $7 in his bank account, well documented. Well above that now, I would hope, taking care of himself, and does it with a great performance here tonight. Like he said, it was a lot of grappling, wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. Another one of note, well, we've got 2 more of note, really. Adrian Yanez with a knockout in the first round of Vinicius Salvador in the bantamweight division. So Yanez, kind of bouncing back here the last couple of fights. Then Angela Hill getting a nice top 10 win over number 9 Luana Pinheiro in the women's strawweight division with a submission in the second round, guillotine choke, as number 12 defeats number 9 in the women's strawweight division. So Angela Hill hanging in there. One of the disappointing things that we had on this card, that Haley Cowan was supposed to fight on this card against Tamiris Vidal, but the person who stepped in for Haley Cowan, Melissa Gatto, getting a TKO in the third round in a women's bantamweight matchup. So let's get on to UFC 302. So that is taking place June 1st in Newark, New Jersey. Does not feature those two. Those two are coming later. We'll talk about that in UFC 303 here in a little bit. Just want to transition a little bit. UFC 302, June 1st. Newark, New Jersey, Islam Makhachev, the lightweight champion, taking on the number 4 ranked contender Dustin Poirier, one of the fan favorites. So this is a anticipated matchup between these two. A lot of talk going on already. That Makhachev doesn't know that Poirier deserves this shot, but he's really all that's left after all that's gone on the last couple of months in the lightweight division. So really looking forward to this one. Makhachev, pound for pound, number 1 in the world. Like I said, Poirier, one of the fan favorites. So really looking forward to this. Co-main event, Sean Strickland, Paulo Costa in the middleweight division. Number 1 contender is Strickland, former champion. And number 7, Costa, coming in here. These two have, some of the higher, strikes per minute rankings in the whole UFC. So, a lot to look forward to there. Kevin Holland's stepping in on this card now. That's announced this week. Middleweight matchup for the number 15 ranked Holland against Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. And we've got number 7 Jailton Almeida against number 13 Alexander Romanov in the heavyweight division. And rounding it out, the main card would be right now, Randy Brown against Alizu Zaleski dos Santos. Other good fights on this card, Grant Dawson, Joe Selecki. Looking forward to seeing Basil Hafez. As I've said, this is kind of one of the people you want to look forward to next year. Not in this year's rookie products, but he looked pretty good so far. And so I look for big things out of him, and to kind of be one of those rookies going forward that everybody kind of has an eye out for as they open up those products. So that's UFC 302, and we will be here right after that on June 1st. Probably around 11:45, midnight, usually around when we get on. We come on as soon as the main event ends. So we want to be one of the first ones to start talking about what has gone down that night. So UFC Fight Night, June 8th. This one announced this week from Louisville. Number 4, Jared Cannonier against number 8, Nasruddin Imavov. That's a middleweight matchup. So that one's just added this week as the main event. Co-main, Raul Rosas Jr., Ricky Tercios. This one has been in the works for a while as the bantamweight matchup there. So everybody looking forward to Rosas getting back in there. And what else? We got Thiago Moises, Dominic Reyes against Dustin Jacoby. Kind of a sneaky good matchup as Reyes has not been in there in a while, but still ranked number 15. Jacoby looking to make a name for himself there. As we look to some of the other events that have been announced this week, we've got Fight Night June 15th from the Apex. Alex Perez and Tatsuro Taira, number 5 against number 13 in the flyweight division. This one's actually moved off of one of the other cards and made the main event for the Fight Night. I believe that was at UFC 302, and they have moved that one to be the main event on June 15th. So that one's from the Apex, if I didn't say that already. So then we've got Fight Night June 22nd from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and this is more than a fight night. This is a huge card. It's just lacking. All it lacks from not being a pay-per-view is just a championship matchup. But you're getting pretty close here with number 3 Robert Whittaker against number 11 Hamzat Chimaev in the middleweight division. Heavyweight matchup, number 3 Sergey Pavlovich against number 5 Alexander Volkov. Light heavyweight matchup, number 7 Johnny Walker against number 9 Volkan Ozdemir. And we've got Kelvin Gastelum against Daniel Rodriguez in a welterweight matchup. And Shara Magomedov against Ihor Pretoria in the middleweight division. So then we will get to these two now. And we had a few more fights added to this one, but nothing really significant. The card's, pretty well coming together. So Conor McGregor against number 6 Michael Chandler in a welterweight matchup. I believe Chandler is ranked number 6 in the lightweight division. So then we have number 3 Jamal Hill against number 8 Caleb Roundtree Jr. in the light heavyweight division. Obviously Jamal Hill, former champion, and Roundtree having some pretty impressive performances here of late. Peyton Talbot, Giannis Gamori, bantamweight matchup. Mayra Buena Silva returning women's bantamweight matchup against Macy Chiasson, number 3 against number 7. Cub Swanson against Andre Feely. This is a really good one, middleweight matchup. Joe Pyfer against Marc-Andre Barriot. And women's strawweight top 15 matchup, number 14 Michelle Waterson-Gomez against number 15 Jillian Robertson. Was one event added, actually a couple of events added. UFC Fight Night July 20th from the Apex, and no fights determined on that card yet. But UFC 304, that was the big one that we were looking forward to and getting on here and talking about. And July 27th from Manchester, England. This is a great card. Welterweight championship on the line with Leon Edwards against Bilal Muhammad. The second matchup between these two, the first one, kind of a no contest. It was no contest, nothing kind of about it. So, been anticipating this one for a very long time and seeing Leon back in there in his home country. And also, fellow countryman Tom Aspinall, the interim heavyweight champion, against number 4 Curtis Blades in a heavyweight matchup. So Aspinall, his lone loss in UFC is to Curtis Blades, and this was an injury stoppage 2 years ago. I remember this one very well. I was in Lake Charles, Louisiana, watching this one, and may or may not have put some money on Tom Aspinall in that fight, but thought this was a gimme, and those are the way things go in the UFC. Just thought that was easy money. So Aspinall going to try to avenge that loss, and Curtis Blades on the other side going to say that he's going to earn this one this time and try to get it done. But it'd be really interesting. Aspinall just came out there flying, and 15 seconds in, just had that knee injury, and it took him out for a little bit, but has risen meteorically since then, and actually passed up Curtis Blades and is now the interim champion. So this is a great story between these two. I'm sure they have nothing but respect for each other and know how that went down the last time, unfortunately, but we're looking forward to seeing it this time. So lightweight matchup, and I'm not a big fan of this one. Number 15, Bobby Green against Paddy Pimblett. Paddy coming off this injury. I don't know that Bobby Green is the person that I would want to be facing coming off of an injury, but hats off to Paddy for doing it. And so we'll see him against Bobby Green. Definitely Paddy's toughest test to date. Really going to be tested this time. So go watch out. Featherweight matchup: number 6 Arnold Allen against number 9 Giga Chikadze, and this is a great fight that's down on the card. Flyweight matchup between number 6 Muhammad Makayev and number 7 Manel Kape. So Makayev ranked number 6, but I don't know that there are 5 better contenders in the flyweight division right now ahead of Makayev. So we will see if he can get that done with Steve Erceg facing Pantoja last time. Then there's no reason that Makayev can't be next in line for that flyweight title. So then we have events that just don't have any fights on them yet. UFC 305, August 17th in Perth, Australia. And I would guess that UFC 306 is probably UFC Noche. That'd be September 14th, and that'll be at the Sphere in Vegas. That'd be awesome. But then we got a fight night that was announced this week, September 28th in Paris. I'm sure you'll see Cyril Gane somewhere around there. And then you got to have UFC 307 somewhere in this range. Maybe October 5th would make sense. If UFC 308 is October 26th in Abu Dhabi, and 307 would have to be in that October 5th range if you're going to have Noche on the 14th. So that is the schedule that is coming up, and we will talk about it here every weekend except for next weekend. When the UFC's off, we're off. So it'll be a good time to spend with family and, catch up, get some more material. But we appreciate everybody coming in, and we'll, kind of look at the cards that we have left. Obviously, we've got these two. We've got some Conor McGregor cards left. Those 2 numbered cards, and Michael Chandler auto left as we anticipate UFC 303 coming up with those 2. That's kind of why we showed those. We've got some more. Khabib Nurmagomedov, some really good cards of him. Islam Makhachev, Khamzat Chimaev. We'll start showing those off here in the next couple of weeks. But like I said, first things first, talk about fights, then we'll get to cards later. But all of our cards are available. You can go to our store on eBay, Orange Fire Lots of Lots, and see everything that we have. And, I just mentioned some things that aren't listed on there, but you can ask us, if you're looking for anyone in particular, then we'll certainly take a look and see what we have to offer. But you can check out those. You can email me here at the show, russ@orange-fire.com. Go to the website, orange-fire.com. And once again, the eBay store, Orange Fire Lots of Lots. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here on this instant reaction on a Saturday night after UFC Fight Night from the Apex. Laron Murphy with a dominant decision over Edson Barboza in the featherweight division. We will be back on June 1st, right after the main event between Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier from UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey. I'm Russ Renault. This is the UFC Fight Cards podcast presented by Orange Fire Media, and we will see you next time right here on YouTube.